I would like to address probably the best show on television right now, which is The Boys, which is on Amazon Prime. And if you haven't watched it yet, I don't know what you're doing with your life. But this thing is yet again this. You know what this show makes me feel like is the first time I ever watched Walking Dead,
Yes.
season one. Like the feeling I got when I watched Walking Dead, and I was like, I didn't know television could be like this cinematic. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I felt that way with The Boys season one. I mean, I remember you telling me like, dude, you gotta watch it, because I was like, dude, I don't even know where to begin. What are you feeling about season two so far?
It's strong, man. I'm not going to go into the sixth episode since you haven't watched it yet, but when you watch it, you'll know that it's ramping up, and there's a lot of cool moments. It's action packed, and there's a lot of relationships that are starting to build that you never thought would happen. So I'm excited for you to watch it because I want to get your thoughts. But overall, man, you didn't think it could get any crazier than the first season, and it's getting crazier. I mean, how about we're gonna spoil some things if you haven't watched 1 through 5, the episodes for seasons 2. Maybe take a pause. But how they ended that fifth episode with the wild sex scene between Stormfront and Homelander, and she's just like laser me, and I'm like, what is this? Like, what is going on? These two socio-psychopaths are gonna be, kindling together, and it's not gonna be good.
Oh yeah,
And I love the direction that Starlight's going, because she actually wants to do good, and she knows Vought isn't that path. But I don't think the boys, Huey and Butcher and Mother's Milk and Frenchie, I don't think that's the direction either. But I feel like that's the lesser of two evils for her. So it's
yeah.
interesting to see her, go through her arc as trying to be like a true hero.
I love her character. I love her story arc. Gosh, the acting in this show is just incredible. The relationships. Speaking of relationships, I'm really digging the relationship between Mother's Milk, and Huey
Yeah.
in this season. I feel like we haven't seen much of a relationship with them. Obviously, in season one, that they're really just meeting for the first time, and now there's been some time that has passed, and to see their dynamic.
I mean, he
And
sat in a friggin' dead whale carcass with them for a little bit.
I know, that's friendship right there. I mean, I would do that for you, man. I would sit inside of a dead whale.
Appreciate that.
But their relationship, I really enjoy. There's so many things, man. I mean, after season one, and thinking, gosh, how are you going to top this? And I feel like they've already topped it, and with so many different things. I mean, with the storyline in general, uh, ramping up the sheer craziness of the show. Again, spoilers, everybody. The episode before, so episode 4, before the fifth one, the fourth episode. I mean, come on, that ending between Homelander and Homelander. You know what I'm talking about? I mean, what a. I mean, you couldn't help but have your jaw on the floor.
Yeah.
It was so dark and menacing.
It was.
And it really, to me, as crazy and over the top as it was, and shocking as it was, what they discussed, and I won't go into full detail. You just have to watch the episode, but I'll try to keep it as PG-13 as possible. It really just, to me, that whole scene really showed us what Homelander thinks of himself. Like,
yes.
I mean, you can kind of, even from season one, okay, I understand this guy's personality, and he's like, I'm this godlike being. Everyone should worship me. Who's going to tell me not to do this? I mean, who's going to? And then the fact that something was going to happen, and the only person to perform that act on him would be himself.
Yes.
I mean, I know a lot of people go, oh my gosh, and could be really put off by it. But to me, it was just a scene where it just made sense. This guy is so in his own head that there is nobody that will ever or could ever top him. And
Yes.
that's what I took away from that. And
you see that with Stormfront in the next episode, you know, because he hates that she's trying to take the spotlight. She hates that he took out Kamiko's brother. Like, he was like, that was mine. And she's like, well, you snooze, you lose. And now she's out there getting press, and he's losing 9.5 points because he murdered, you know, a guy on accident when he was taking out, you know, a terrorist in a foreign country. You know, he just didn't even care. And you can see the jealousy, and you can see that he doesn't like being topped, and that he's the leader of the 7, which the 7's not even the 7 anymore. You know, 8 Train's out. He's on his way to do, you know, finish the dawn of the 7, and then, you know, transition out. He's going to replace the Deep is, I don't even know. He's got an interesting arc going on too, man. I mean,
he does. I enjoy his story a lot, and I enjoy that actor. He cracks me up, man. Every time he's on the screen, that scene where he's singing and his gills are singing with him,
dude.
You know, like it's just so crazy, man. But it's just, you can't stop watching this show. It's, oh my gosh, it's brilliant writing.
Yes.
I know you're reading the comic, right?
Yeah.
So what do you, to compare the two, do you prefer the comic over the show, or both kind of on different playing fields?
I think they're on two different playing fields. I will always prefer the TV or movie version of things. You know, I do love comics and I love the stories they have, but I like to see it play out, you know, in person on TV. So that's like my favorite outlet right there. But the stuff in the comics, it just blows the raunchiness of the TV, you know, series out of the water. And, you know, they're talking about making a spin-off series about, you know, teenage soups. And, you know, if they're going the route of, like, the Teenage Kicks or the other, like, teenage groups that are in the boys' comics, it's just going to get even raunchier, because the first time you meet the Teenage Kicks, you know, they're having a huge orgy with, like, prostitutes and stuff, switching them around and everything. It's nuts. It's just out of this world. And I'm interested to see how, you know, the Compound V goes about the future of this television series, because in the comics, the boys use Compound V to get, you know, super strength for a limited amount of time. So they can use it to fight the soups without, you know, keeping the powers. So I wonder if they're going to go that route in the TV series or not.
Man, I can't wait to see. I only heard, you know, great things about the comics, but I've heard the comics are really intense to the point where I think some of the stuff in the comics, from what I've heard, they couldn't even, and as crazy as the show The Boys is, they couldn't even include some of the stuff in the comics.
I mean, like, in the comics, they literally killed the soup by putting C4 in her vibrator, and when she used it,
that's just The Boys for you.
It is. It's nuts.
I feel like when we talk about the show, I mean, yeah, we talk about just the crazy things that happen. I need to figure out another word that means crazy and stop using crazy. But, you know, some people who don't watch the show might think, this
is too wild. Like,
how are you watching this?
This is too over the top. It's too raunchy. It's too, you know.
But there's so much more to it that I love. I think the story itself, the themes that are in the show, and what's crazy is how the show actually deals with, like, political and social issues.
Yes.
So to me, that's I don't know, that's what I just kind of absorb is all that. It's so well written, and I know I've probably said before, but the dramatic scenes and the dialogue is so great. And then you get this, like, crazy bombastic kind of stuff that, to me, is just icing on the cake. But the heart of the show is not that.
No,
it's so much more. There's so many layers. This show's like a friggin' onion. There's so many layers of the show.
And my favorite thing is, every time Homelander is on screen, you don't know what he's going to do. And it always has you on edge. When someone makes him mad, you don't know if he's going to laser their eyes, rip their head off, or just leave them alone. Because sometimes he's talking to them, he puts his hand, like, his, like, dominance is putting his hand on their neck because they know and he knows he can either squeeze or rip, and you're dead.
That's the dominance. I mean,
Yes.
you summed it up perfectly. Like, you want so bad. Like, first off, Homelander, the guy who plays him, is his name Tony Starr or
I don't know
Anthony
his name.
something? I know it's like Tony Starr on Instagram. What a fantastic actor this guy is. And Homelander, I think anybody would agree, really steals every scene that he's in. But you want so bad for someone to put this guy in his place, and I'll tell you who's going to do it. I'll let you guess. Who do you think I'm going to say?
Who do you think's in it? I think Starlight.
Really?
I think Starlight.
You know who I would love something like some fight between those two. I think it's going to be his son.
It could.
I really do. Like, that scene, that gave me the chills. That scene when his son pushed him and his eyes were red.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my God, the only one that can defeat Homelander, like, is his son. Like, how Shakespearean and poetic is this? Yeah. I mean, I don't know if I would, but knowing this show, they might do it, but I don't know if I would dig like a child fighting an adult man. Like, I don't know. I think if you were to flash forward at some point and the son grew up a little bit and had to face his father, that would be pretty
See what I think is going to happen is a different thing. I think his mom is going to get killed, and I think Homelander is going to blame it on Butcher, which is going to force his son to be on his side. That's where I think it's going to go. That's where I see it going. And I could be wrong, but that's how I see it going.
Okay. Well, I think something, unfortunately, is going to happen to her.
Yes.
I have this hunch, and I think you might be onto something. I think you might be closer to the truth than I am. I don't know. There was something about that scene, and I was like, is he the one that's gonna take Homelander down? It, like, how crazy would that be? His own son. Like, yeah. I don't know, but dude, this show is so great. I mean, me and you have talked about it numerous times. I mean, season 1, we really just addressed season 2 now. But if you're not watching The Boys, like, oh my God, do it.
And I understand, like, if you don't like gory, bloody, television series, it's not going to be your cup of tea. But if you can handle that kind of stuff, it is definitely worth the watch because it's fun. It's got you on edge all moments, and over the top, crazy, wild, anything that can describe, like, out of this world nuts. That's what you'll get from this TV series.
It's I think it's brilliant. I really do, but I get it. It's not for everybody, and not every show's for everybody, but this is a really well done, unbelievable show that I just think everyone should just at least try and just give it a chance.
Yeah.
I remember Ty and Kev sent me.
I showed my sister the first 15 minutes of the first episode of the first season, and I'm like, well, it's on you now. If you want to watch it, watch it. If not, her and Joey just stared at it, and they're like, what is going on? Like the scene when A-Train runs through Huey's girlfriend, and I'm just I'm even watching the screen because I've seen it so many times.
Yeah.
I just looked at my sister, and she's like, did he just run through her? I'm just laughing and just looking at her, just watch everything outplay. He's like, I can't stop. I gotta go. Boom. And then he's just like, I forget her name. I forget her name, but he just screams her name a few times, and it's like. And by the way, Huey always has blood on his face. He's always at the end of a gut explosion. He's always covered in blood.
I love his character too. Like, he makes me laugh because you're right. Like, he always is in this situation where he's just covered in guts and blood, and you could just tell he's like, I just want to go home. I don't even want to be a part of this anymore.
Well, the whale scene is the biggest one because he was done, and I even said to Jess, I'm like, if I was him, I would be done too. How many the shit he's seen that he's been through? How many times people's entrails have been on his face? I'd be like, all right, this is it. Take me. I'm just gonna sit in this whale, and whatever happens, happens.
Where do you draw the line, man? I guess when you're inside of the stomach of a whale, that's where I'd be like, I've done it all. I've seen it all. I'm done.
He almost died anyway because Homelander almost had Starlight kill him right in the tunnels.
That scared the shit out of me because I was like, "There's no way they're gonna end him. Like he's too vital for the show." And I did get nervous though because it's so unpredictable that I really thought, "Oh my god, this is the last time that we're gonna see Huey."
And a big thing is you can see Butcher's changing. You know, his personality, his ideology of things, because normal Butcher would have just let Huey die. You know, I have my soup. I'm getting to my wife, and I don't care about this kid who, you know, he's an idiot. He, you know, over emotional. I don't care about him. Let's move on. I care about my wife.
But he was his canary, man.
I know.
He was his canary. See, guys, there's romance in the show too.
There is.
It's not just entrails. Good word, by the way. But anyways, the boys. It's a metal show, man.
Yeah, it is.